Hello and welcome to our new reading session. We have a reading selection text titled The Chimpanzees I Love. The school's vision is Learn Today, Lead Tomorrow. And this is the title of our reading selection, The Chimpanzees I Love by Jane Goodall. Jane Goodall is a very famous scientist and a person who was active for animal rights. The objectives of our lesson is to infer the meaning of unfamiliar words by using or find the meaning in the glossaries or dictionaries, and compose meaningful sentences, and reading and understanding on-level text, and infer the author's purpose from the clues in the text. This is the introduction of the text. What is your opinion about animal research? We know that scientists use animals in the research labs to make their experiments on these animals. So what is your opinion about this? Here, our comprehension skill focus is on the author's purpose. It's very, very important to think about the author's purpose. Why did this writer write this text, the article or the story or the novel or whatever? So we have to think while we read. Authors usually write to persuade, inform. Just let me grab. To persuade, inform, express ideas or feelings, or to entertain. Okay, as you preview the selection, try to predict the author's purpose. After reading, ask yourself if the author met that purpose. Okay, you can use this graphic organizer. Before you read, you can preview to decide the purpose, just to look and skim for main ideas and then guess the author's purpose. And during reading, look for clues, and then after reading, ask if the purpose was met and how. This is also from the beginning of your book, the author's purpose. We have here, this is the author, and here to inform. If the author writes about facts, scientific facts or whatever, and to entertain when we read a funny story, or to persuade, like the ads that we see in the newspapers on TV, to persuade us to buy things, or to express, like a poem, for example, to express feelings. This is the cover of our selection, and this cover contains the title, The Chimpanzees I Love, Saving Their World and Ours. This is the title, and the author is Jane Goodall. Jane Goodall is very famous worldwide. And here we have the genre, which is the type of this selection, which is expository text, which explains the nature of something and looks for details and explanations about nature, or the nature of chimpanzees. Let's watch this video.
Jane Goodall was interested in the outdoors since childhood, but it was one toy she received as a toddler that would send her on her life's path. A stuffed animal, a chimp named Jubilee. Valerie Jane Morris Goodall was born on April 3, 1934 in London, England. While staying on a farm at age 4, she hid for hours in a hen house just to see how hens lay eggs, while her worried family called police to report her missing. It was after reading the story of Dr. Dolittle at age 8 when she knew she just had to get to Africa. At age 12, she founded her own nature club, the Alligator Societies. Members were required to identify 10 dogs, 10 trees, 10 birds, and 5 butterflies or moths. In May 1956, a friend invited her to visit the family farm in Kenya. Jane waitressed to earn the round-trip boat fare. She arrived in Africa in April 1957. While there, she met famed anthropologist Dr. Louis Leakey. He hired Jane as his secretary and set her up to study chimpanzees in Tanzania. In 1960, Jane arrived at the Gombe Stream Chimpanzee Reserve in western Tanzania with her mother as her chaperone. At first, the chimps ran whenever they saw her, but she was persistent. Eventually, they allowed her to get closer to them. Jane observed chimpanzee behavior that was previously unknown, such as hunting and eating meat, as well as the use of tools. After hearing of Jane's discoveries, Dr. Leakey said, "Now we must redefine tool, redefine man, or accept chimpanzees as humans." In 1963, National Geographic published an article about Jane for the first time. They had sent a photographer, Hugo van Lawick, to document Jane's life. Hugo became part of Jane's life. They were married in 1964 and had a son in 1967. At Dr. Leakey's urging, Jane got her PhD in ethology from Cambridge University in 1965. She was one of 8 people who got a PhD without first getting a bachelor's degree. Work demands took its toll on the marriage, and Jane and Hugo divorced in 1974. Jane married Derek Bryson, the head of the Tanzania National Park, in 1975. He died in 1980. Through Jane's writings, the average person got to know the lives of chimpanzees of Gombe. When one chimp, Old Flo, died in 1972, the London Times even printed an obituary. In 1977, she founded the Jane Goodall Institute to benefit the people in Africa who are living in poverty and to spread the word about conserving animals and nature. Jane has founded several educational programs, including Roots and Shoots, an environmental educational program for young people. In 2002, Jane's work got the attention of the United Nations when then Secretary General Kofi Annan appointed her as United Nations Messenger of Peace. She was reappointed in 2007.
So now let's take a close look at the vocabulary. The first word is captive, and captive is a noun and it means kept in confinement. It means a prisoner, like you see in the picture on the right, a prisoner, whether a person as a prisoner or an animal that is locked behind bars or in cages. No one thought about the happiness of the captive animals before Jane Goodall work and observations and research. Captive. Companionship. Companionship is a noun and it means fellowship, or when you have a good time with your friends. Okay, so animals in zoos need companionship from other animals, like you see in this picture on the left. A dog and a cat are like friends, so they enjoy each other's companionship. Existence. Existence is a noun and it means condition of being. Being means exist. Zoo life is nothing like the animals' existence in the wild. Their being there in the wild. This is the meaning of this word, existence. Ordeal. Ordeal is a noun and it means a severe test or experience. Being locked in cages is an ordeal for animals. Should add an S here. Primitive. Primitive is an adjective and it means very simple. Zoos today are different from the early primitive places where animals were kept, like the cages and these things. So primitive means very simple. Sometimes we call it the primitive man when we talk about the caveman. So these people were primitive. Sanctuaries. Sanctuaries is a noun and it means places of refuge. Zoos today have become both sanctuaries and places of learning. Means people go there to learn about animals while the animals are living in a reserve or in a very safe place. Sanctuaries. Stimulating is an adjective and it means lively, interesting, and encouraging. So they offer all these sentences are from your book and they are about animals that were kept in primitive zoos, and now these animals, while they are kept in sanctuaries or advanced zoos, they offer many stimulating objects to keep the animals from getting bored, like this pumpkin or ball. I do not. Yes, they offer these animals the things like to play with. Okay, so we call them stimulating objects. Means interesting, lively, encouraging. This is page 260 in your readers and writers. The first word is, what is the meaning? What is the word that it means? Very simple. We have primitive and kept in confinement, kept in the prison or confinement, which is captive, and a word that means a severe test or experience, means a hard experience, very very cruel thing, which is ordeal. And number 4, places of refuge or protection, safe places. Refuge or protection, they are sanctuaries. Number 5, friendly feeling among companions. Companions feel the companionship. Margaret really enjoyed the what among her friends. So among the friends, she must have enjoyed the companionship. Number 7, Carl did not believe in the what of ghosts, in the existence of ghosts. He doesn't believe that they exist. Number 8, she joined the film club so she can meet people who liked what? Conversations about movies. The film club people are going to enjoy what? Conversations about movies. Must be very interesting conversations. So very interesting means stimulating. Number 9, the class survived the what of taking the hardest test. So a hard test. What is the word that means a hard test? Ordeal. Okay, and number 10, the science class went to visit several wildlife. What the places, the protected places in wildlife are sanctuaries. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, you can now use the discussion room. Goodbye.